So this weekend I had the wonderful opportunity of going to the Georgia, let's get it right, the annual Georgia Gay Straight Alliance Youth Summit. This is a summit that they have each year in Georgia where GSAs from around the state who they just come together, and it's like a day of workshops, the normal summit type thing that you can imagine. We had a keynote speaker, Dr. Bettina Love. Her name is Dr. Love. This is true. And she was really cool. She talked a lot about the difference between being human and having humanity, and she talked a lot about how we have these buzzwords like love and compassion and equality that we like to throw around, but really someone who has humanity is someone who actually embodies the traits of love and compassion and equality, where basically your actions speak louder than your words. How the queer spirit is a critical thinking spirit. So all you people who might be straight or cisgender, if you're critical thinking, that is a queer spirit. And I happen to agree with her. Queers have to think about a lot of stuff. The first session I went to was Garbo, Garland, and Gaga, Pop Culture and the Queer Community. So he talked a lot about these different pop culture icons, kind of the divas of history. Greta Garbo is really interesting. I hadn't heard about her, but you need to look her up. She pushed a lot of boundaries. She was kissing all sorts of women on TV and on the movies, and she was bending all the rules to kind of be like, well, we didn't show it, so it left a lot of interpretation for the the straight-laced people, the very closed-minded people to be like, oh, that was nothing. Whereas a queer person is going to see this movie she's in. I forgot what the name of it even was. Obviously, I wasn't very good at listening to anything. But she's in this movie, and she's dressed like a man, and this woman comes floundering in a dress, and they just start major kiss, extended kiss on the lips. And I was just kind of what is this movie? What is this about? What's the context? I had no idea what's going on. And then they end up in this carriage together, and she's good now, and she's the king of the world or something. I don't really know. And they get out, and she's okay, well, and she's all she's a woman in this movie, she's not playing a man, she is a woman, and they get out, and then she because you could only show one same-sex kiss in a movie at that time, she bent over, and her big hat covered the fact that they were totally making out a little bit. I need to look up what the heck that movie is, and so do you. It was super interesting. The point of his talk was kind of to bring up the odd fact of why do all of these gay people, gay men in particularly, independent of each other, just latch on to these icons. I mean, all the gays did not get around in some conference of the gays. No, randomly they all love these people. And so there's apparently a book called How to Be Gay, which obviously now I need to go and get and read all of, that touches that topic more deeply. So I'm thinking I'm going to get that and read it and tell you about it. This next section was my favorite. The title of it was, Hello, I'm Straight Gay, which had everyone in this tizzy of, what the heck does that mean? OMFG, WTF, does this mean? It was talking about how our queer people portrayed in the media, whether it be fiction or real media, through a heteronormative lens. So half of that is how are straight people portraying gay people, and why, and how are queer people who are portrayed still kind of made to fit this binary heteronormative lens. The guy started out asking, are queer people the same as non-queer heteronormative people? And so everyone's kind of well, yeah, we're the same. But then he's no, we're not. There is diversity and there is culture in our community that is unique to our community, that is worth sharing and exploring. And And that is a real part of our experience. This is what we see when we go into our communities, when we go to our GSAs, when we go to Pride. And there's as much diversity within this group as there is within any other type of cultural community or group. He brought up kind of these stereotypical gay figures, you know. In the past, a gay man was this really effeminate male, and a lesbian woman was this really butch woman. And then kind of in the 90s, there was this big push to be like, no, we're the same. We're your doctors and lawyers and next-door neighbors and dog walkers, and we're not just your hairdressers and nail polishers. Like, we're real people. I think that's good. I think it's good to have some of that, to say, like, no, we're not just the men dressing around in pink dresses and the women who are playing softball. Like, we have more to us than that. But what that's kind of created now in the media is this attempt, in a lot of times, to either androgynize or make too much the same. Make queer people too much the same. We talked about a lot of couples on TV. Couples can sometimes be portrayed as there being still this man and this woman, you know, the dominant and the submissive person. But we talked about the couple on Modern Family. The thing that he pointed out about on Modern Family is that that actually kind of shows a good balance. You know, Mitch is usually the more stringent, rule-abiding one, and Cam is the dramatic one who's like, rah, 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 rah. But Cam is all about sports. And Mitch has these kind of feminine qualities that come out, and so they kind of like balance each other. So it was just kind of this general discussion that brought up these ideas of what's in the media that we see, why might it be presented, you know, do shows that have gay couples on them still need to have this heteronormative binary within these relationships so that they can appeal to the larger crowd? If 90% of the people are used to these strict binaries, would they even be interested in watching shows like The Fosters or Modern Family if they portray these couples who are not heteronormative in any way and who seem to break all of the rules and all of the things that are familiar to them? You know, could these shows even exist? Could any of these gay characters exist and do the good that they do if 90% of the population doesn't even want to watch them? They're not going to make money, so they're not going to get out there. Do we have this need to include some heteronormativity, to stay away from the gay culture, or do we need to make a push for seeing more diverse gay culture in the general media? I don't know. That's kind of the general questions we got. So yeah, the summit was a smash. I would highly recommend to anyone in Georgia in 2015 to look up the Georgia Safe Schools Coalition and go to the next summit that will happen in the future. Anyway, until next time, I'll see ya.